Hey Jack, GG's. I'm trying to get in the habit of analyzing my games. So I wanted to just like quickly go over the game we just had and talk over a few things and hopefully point out some things for you and me. Uh, yeah, I'll try to keep it quick. Yeah, all right, let's get started here. So, right, this is all super standard. I'm going for the King's Indian defense against d4. And the idea here in the King's Indian is to allow you control of the center early on and set up to try and undermine it and like chip away at your center control and while mounting like a king side attack. So that's like generally the idea. We ended up not going down that route, but um, yeah, no, I'll explain. I'll talk about why in a sec. Um, this is actually. Oh, I would think I was afraid of this, and that's why I did this. So this move, d6 is a part of the opening for King's Indian, um, but I usually do it in response to e4, so that you don't, you know, move up and attack the knight, which is I think you end up doing anyway. Which I don't think is necessarily invalid. You're just challenging this, but that's the purpose of this move is to kind of protect the knight, or that's how I usually think of it anyway, or like protect this square. Oops. Um, this move. So let's see. I set it up on this board. This is the typical, I think, setup against the King's Indian, right? Because I'm seeding the center, you have an opportunity to like totally own it early on and make it as hard as possible for me to retake the center. Um, so moves like H3, that is H3, right? Yeah. Mean you're that's one tempo you're not using to claim the center in this setup. And I know I imagine you're trying to prevent this for the pin or like the pin this pin here, but I guess first off like if I move here now, right, there is no pin because this guy's here. Um, and I'm sure you intend to do this, but and I actually think that's your next move after this, right? Yeah. But um, I guess personally, first of all, it's not standard in the King's Indian to do this. That's not a good reason why you should not be afraid of it. But I guess I personally don't like pinning the knight against the queen because the queen can strike back, right? Like, um, I need to think a little bit about why I don't think you should be afraid of this. And do this. Yeah, I guess I don't have a great explanation, but I think that's an overly cautious move that's taking away tempo early in the game when you could be just creating a commanding control of the center instead. Um, anyway, um, that is my comment there. This is all standard. Castle standard. Um, yeah, the engine doesn't like this move. I don't have a good answer to any of this, so I don't really know why. But like now, I think it went from your advantage to my advantage here, according to the engine. Right, take. I think my response here was this, which was real dumb. This doesn't do anything. I think I was trying to like prevent this, but um, like it was prevented where it was. um, like I think what I should have done was this. And then, right, I could have attacked the center. If you take, then the knight's hanging. Uh, and well, actually, you probably wouldn't have wanted to do that because then I could take the queen, and we trade queens and your kings here, and you can't castle anymore. So okay, well then all the more reason to do this. Right, but instead I did this. Uh, oops. Anyway, okay, you're protecting the pawn. I think I was fishing for the trade here. Didn't happen, so I take, we trade. I was fishing for another trade here, and I think we both know this was unfortunate. Um, all right, take. I know from here this is just a difficult game, right? Because now you're down a minor piece. But I think you did pretty well in the next few moves, just taking control of the center again. Um, like here, I was trying to establish my own control, but I think you did a good job, like protecting this pawn and asserting control of here. I think, yeah, and you chase away my bishop and gain a tempo. Castle's good. Um, I misplayed this. Like I think this was actually a fine move. But right, the idea was to create this threat, this pin. Um, but really, in hindsight, if you had just moved the rook, this loses all of its power. Because the thought was, right, I take this, and I'm attacking the rook, so you have to take, and now this pawn has no defenders, which is ultimately what had happened, right? But I think you could have prevented all of it by just, like, in response to this, if you just moved the rook, right, then, um, like, you know, this would have been the sequence, and now you still have complete control of the center, and you're still protecting this pawn, and I have to figure out some way to work around that. Anyway, this happened, and then again, I gave you another opportunity to move your rook, your f rook. Like I remember, as soon as I moved that, I was like, ah, damn, that was a dumb move. But um, and I guess I'm guessing you were just trying to put the rook in a spot where it was protected. Uh, here, but then I had this. I lucked out here. I didn't somehow I didn't anticipate that you would pin my bishop here. And actually, it looks like the engine wanted me to do this, right? Because that removes the threat of the pin, or gives me the opportunity to move the queen around after this is over, like, or after this pin is over. Instead, I did this, which I don't think is a terrible move. Um, but now my queen is left, like, has the responsibility of defending this pawn, which kind of sucks because now my queen is kind of just stuck. I can't move the queen, and I made it even worse by doing this. um, and granted, this is not terrible, right? Like, I'm claiming control of the center, but I think I could have done this in a way that gave the queen more liberty, like by making my rooks a little more active. Um, okay. I'm guessing you were trying to prevent this. I remember actually going through the engine analysis. The engine wanted you to do this. Also this, because your pawn is pinned here, right? Oops. Uh, but in any case, like I was trying to build this threat of advancing these pawns to attack, this square, but I would have done all of that work, and you could have just, moved the rook back, and then that would have been all for naught. I mean, not for naught. Like obviously that it improves my position, but I think uh, like early on you could have short circuited that whole thing by moving the rook back, and then I think the engine wanted you to like kind of double up on this file and create a threat here um, after moving the king, uh, which I guess would have been a strategy. Yeah, then you could have coordinated with the pawns and kind of created a threat on the side of the board. Um, yeah, this was a bad move. I think yeah, eventually you punish it by taking my pawn. I think I could have done a number of things instead of that, including getting the rooks involved, or even just this would have been better. Um, okay, so a general principle. Um, Early on, when you're down a minor piece, like obviously it sucks, but because there are still so many minor pieces on the board, that advantage that I have is diminished by the fact that you still have many options. the longer the game goes on and the more we trade off pieces, my minor piece advantage becomes more significant. So it's actually in my best interest to force as many trades and simplify the game. Um, and it should be your objective to try and figure out a way to win a piece and equalize our minor piece situation. So like trading here, also the fact that rooks are generally more valuable than bishops, right? This trade is bad for you, and you can see that in the engine score too, right? It jumps from 8.6 or minus 8.6 to negative 9.7. Um, and granted, that does set up this avenue for the queen to take here, but then I don't know what you can do from here. Maybe like, start pushing pawns. Um, in any case, just a general thing to keep in mind. Like at this stage in the game with my minor piece advantage, you want to try and preserve the pieces that you have and not trade. And it's my objective to try and force trades because trades are favorable for me right now. Okay, I don't think there's much left to say here. I think what I was going to try and do after this was like get in positions to try and mate. No, that's not the arrow I wanted. Like or something. Um, and I assumed that like maybe what you could have maybe done was start setting up the queen and rook to push the pawns forward. I don't know. That's what I thought you might be going for by taking out this pawn, because now you do have a pawn advantage on these two files. And like if I have to devote pieces to protecting this, right, that means that's fewer pieces I can use to attack this, and I still wanted like a rook around here to protect the king. So like I think I had a few weaknesses left, although obviously this is a tough position for white. Okay, I might have missed some things. I probably did, but those are my thoughts. Hopefully that was somewhat useful. Yeah. Anyway, good games. I'm always down to play another if you want. Thanks, Jack. I'll catch you later.